North Korea in Ukraine has suffered devastating losses, with over 3,000 casualties reported among their deployed forces. According to South Korea's intelligence agency, these losses include 300 confirmed deaths and approximately 2,700 injuries since their involvement began. U.S. National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby revealed that more than 1,000 North Korean soldiers lost their lives in just 1 week of combat operations. The situation has become increasingly dire for the estimated 10,000 to 12,000 North Korean troops deployed to support Russian forces. Recent reports from Ukraine's military intelligence confirm that North Korean soldiers are being used in massed, dismounted assaults against Ukrainian positions, particularly in the Kursk border region. These tactics have proven not only ineffective, but have led to significant casualties, with North Korean forces being treated as expendable in what officials describe as hopeless assaults against Ukrainian defenses. How long can these forces sustain such catastrophic losses? Let's dive into it. South Korean intelligence reports reveal extensive losses among North Korean forces deployed to support Russian operations. The National Intelligence Service has documented approximately 300 deaths and 2,700 injuries among North Korean troops. Moreover, these figures continue to rise as combat operations intensify. The mounting casualties have surpassed initial estimates, with total losses exceeding 3,000 personnel. Subsequently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky provided higher estimates, suggesting up to 4,000 North Korean soldiers have been killed or wounded. Nevertheless, U.S. estimates remain more conservative, placing the figure closer to 100 casualties. The current casualty statistics reveal that North Korean forces have suffered over 3,000 total casualties, including 300 confirmed deaths and approximately 2,700 wounded personnel. The heaviest concentration of North Korean casualties has occurred in the Kursk region, where forces have encountered fierce resistance. Additionally, the deployment zone has expanded throughout the entire Kursk area, leading to increased exposure and vulnerability. Combat operations in this region have proven particularly challenging for North Korean units, as they struggle to adapt to the unfamiliar terrain. The casualty reports have been independently verified by multiple intelligence sources. South Korea's National Intelligence Service has provided detailed briefings based on extensive intelligence gathering. Ukrainian military intelligence has reported significant losses, particularly as a result of drone warfare. Additionally, the U.S. White House and Pentagon have confirmed both the presence of North Korean troops and the casualties they have sustained. The high casualty rate stems from several critical factors. First and foremost, North Korean soldiers demonstrate a lack of understanding of modern warfare. Furthermore, their deployment strategy, as implemented by Russian commanders, has contributed to significant losses. The situation is exacerbated by communication barriers and unfamiliarity with the terrain, which differs substantially from North Korea's mountainous landscape. Intelligence reports indicate that these troops, primarily from North Korea's elite Storm Corps, face additional challenges beyond combat losses. Captured documents reveal that soldiers receive orders to commit suicide rather than face capture. Consequently, this directive has complicated efforts to assess accurate casualty figures, as many troops may choose self-destruction over surrender. Russian military strategists' deployment of North Korean forces has proven catastrophically ineffective, with tactical decisions leading to unprecedented casualties. The White House has confirmed that North Korean units are conducting massed, dismounted assaults against Ukrainian positions, resulting in severe losses. The analysis of human wave tactics highlights a significant contributor to the heavy casualties among North Korean forces. This strategy, characterized by repeated waves of infantry assaults, involves deploying approximately 150 soldiers per wave. While such operations occasionally result in minor territorial gains, the human cost is devastatingly high, with up to 50% of troops in these assaults becoming casualties, even in successful operations. Several tactical shortcomings exacerbate the inefficiency of this approach. Frontal assaults are often directed against well-prepared Ukrainian positions, making them highly vulnerable to counterattacks. Furthermore, North Korean forces operate with limited mechanized support and insufficient artillery coordination, leaving infantry units exposed. Outdated battlefield maneuvers further reduce their effectiveness against the modern defensive strategies employed by Ukrainian forces. Coordination challenges between North Korean and Russian units have also played a crucial role in these failures. Communication breakdowns, stemming largely from language barriers and differing military doctrines, have led to catastrophic outcomes. Ukrainian military intelligence has documented incidents of friendly fire between North Korean and Russian troops. In one notable example, a lack of effective communication resulted in the deaths of 8 members of Russia's Chechen Akhmat unit, highlighting the deadly consequences of poor coordination. Issues such as delayed response times and operational confusion are further compounded by incompatible command structures and inadequate communication systems. These systemic challenges not only undermine the effectiveness of joint operations, but also contribute to the staggering casualty rates among North Korean forces. The North Korean military's inexperience with contemporary warfare has become evident on the Ukrainian battlefield. Therefore, their elite Storm Corps, despite physical conditioning, demonstrates significant deficiencies in modern combat operations. Ukrainian forces report that North Korean troops appear unfamiliar with drone warfare and continue to employ tactics reminiscent of those used 7 decades ago. These training inadequacies have manifested in multiple ways. The NIS analysis confirms that North Korean forces exhibit a lack of understanding of modern warfare, which directly contributes to their high casualty rates. Undoubtedly, their inability to adapt to current battlefield conditions has made them particularly vulnerable to Ukrainian forces equipped with advanced drone surveillance and electronic warfare systems. Russian attempts to address these shortcomings through stricter protocols have yielded limited success. Military commanders have implemented measures such as confiscating electronic devices and imposing new security procedures, although these efforts have created additional challenges for North Korean units already struggling with limited technological exposure. Recent intelligence reports reveal a growing crisis of desertion among North Korean forces stationed in Russia's border regions. Ukrainian military sources confirm that 18 North Korean soldiers abandoned their positions in Kursk and Bryansk oblasts, approximately 4 miles from the Ukrainian border. Indeed, Russian commanders are actively attempting to conceal these desertions from their superiors. Desertion among North Korean troops deployed in Ukraine has become a notable issue, with documented cases shedding light on the psychological and situational pressures these soldiers face. The most significant incident involved a group believed to be from the 11th Air Assault Brigade, who abandoned their positions near Bryansk. Additional reports indicate desertion in areas such as Kursk and Bryansk oblasts, with soldiers fleeing from positions located approximately 4 miles from the border. These desertions highlight the growing challenges within the ranks of North Korean forces operating under harsh conditions far from home. The psychological toll on these soldiers plays a pivotal role in their decision to desert. Research into the mindset of North Korean troops reveals a series of overwhelming stressors that drive such actions. Many struggle with adapting to unfamiliar cultural environments and value systems, leading to deep-seated anxiety. The exposure to the brutal realities of war, including combat trauma and the witnessing of public executions, has been identified as a critical factor, affecting nearly 97.4% of studied cases. Additionally, North Korean soldiers are subjected to extraordinary psychological pressure stemming from orders to avoid capture at all costs. This includes instructions to self-detonate if the risk of capture becomes imminent. The fear of failing to fulfill these extreme expectations further compounds their distress, creating a volatile mental state. Anxiety over their cultural and linguistic isolation adds another layer of difficulty, as these soldiers often feel disconnected from the units they are assigned to support. These factors collectively contribute to a breakdown in morale, increasing the likelihood of desertion. The documented cases underscore not only the human cost of deploying such troops in foreign conflicts, but also the unsustainable nature of their participation under such extreme psychological and operational conditions. 2 North Korean soldiers currently held by Ukrainian forces are receiving medical treatment under the Geneva Convention protocols. However, their fate remains complex due to several factors. President Zelensky has offered to exchange these soldiers for Ukrainian prisoners of war. Likewise, South Korea's constitution presents a unique situation, as it legally considers all North Korean people as its citizens. Captured soldiers are treated in strict accordance with international protocols. The Security Service of Ukraine ensures that they receive necessary medical assistance, are provided with access to Korean language interpreters, and are granted full protection under international law. One captured soldier has expressed a desire to remain in Ukraine, while another wishes to return to North Korea. Generally, South Korean authorities maintain that the wishes of the captured North Korean soldiers are most important. The international community urges Ukraine to ensure these soldiers are not repatriated against their will, given the potential consequences they might face upon return. The extensive deployment of North Korean forces to Ukraine has significantly impacted Pyongyang's military capabilities, affecting both its conventional forces and elite units. Initially maintaining 3 million active duty soldiers and 6 million reservists, North Korea's military strength faces unprecedented challenges. The Storm Corps, North Korea's premier fighting force, has experienced substantial losses in Ukraine. Currently, these elite units suffer from diminished combat effectiveness. As their deployment strategy exposes them to modern warfare scenarios they were not trained to handle. The losses among these specialized forces have been particularly severe, including combat-experienced officers up to the rank of general, specialized mortar and artillery units, and reconnaissance battalions. North Korea's military readiness has seen a sharp decline in recent years, with its conventional forces grappling with numerous challenges that have significantly weakened its operational capacity. The country maintains a substantial military presence, with 3 million active duty personnel and an additional 6 million in reserve forces. However, these numbers belie the underlying issues that compromise their effectiveness. Strict conscription policies require men to serve for 8 to 10 years and women for 5 years. But even this prolonged service has not been sufficient to overcome the challenges facing the armed forces. A critical factor undermining North Korea's military capabilities is its reliance on outdated equipment, much of which is decades old and no match for modern battlefield technology. The Air Force, in particular, has been severely impacted by fuel shortages, which have drastically reduced training opportunities for pilots. Many of them rarely fly missions, leaving their combat readiness in question. This lack of practical experience has created a generation of aviators ill-prepared for real-world conflict scenarios. Additionally, limited resources and sanctions have further strained the military's ability to maintain its forces. Training exercises are scaled back, and critical maintenance on equipment is often neglected due to a lack of parts and funding. These systemic issues have not only hindered the North Korean military's ability to project power, but have also left its personnel less capable of responding effectively in times of conflict. As a result, while the numbers suggest a formidable force on paper, the reality is a military struggling to remain functional in the face of mounting internal and external pressures. The military's resource challenges have worsened significantly since its involvement in Ukraine. The North Korean armed forces continue to rely on conventional weapon systems that are outdated, many of which date back to the Soviet era, leaving them ill-equipped for modern warfare. Additionally, critical shortages have further compounded the difficulties faced by the military. Jet fuel for air operations has become scarce, severely limiting the Air Force's ability to conduct missions and maintain combat readiness. Food supplies for troops are also running low, further straining morale and operational effectiveness. Furthermore, a lack of spare parts has made it increasingly difficult to maintain and repair equipment, further hindering the military's ability to function at full capacity. These resource constraints have prompted North Korea to pursue alternative strategies. The military operates its network of farms, trading companies, and mining operations to sustain its operations. Ultimately, these challenges have forced North Korea to compensate through asymmetrical capabilities, including the development of nuclear missiles and chemical weapons stockpiles. The military's involvement in Ukraine has exposed critical vulnerabilities in North Korea's conventional warfare capabilities. Their forces demonstrate a limited understanding of modern combat operations, primarily relying on outdated tactics and equipment. This situation has prompted a reassessment of North Korea's military effectiveness as their troops struggle with basic operational requirements, including securing adequate drinking water during combat operations. Evidence mounts regarding Moscow's systematic efforts to hide North Korean military losses in Ukraine. Currently, multiple intelligence sources confirm elaborate Russian operations designed to conceal both the presence and casualties of North Korean forces on the battlefield. Russian military authorities have employed various deceptive practices to conceal North Korean involvement in the conflict. One such tactic involves the use of false documentation, where fake Russian military IDs are issued with fabricated birthplaces to obscure the true identity of North Korean soldiers. In addition, identity masking is carried out by placing Korean signatures on Russian-style military documents, further blurring the distinction between Russian and North Korean personnel. To further disguise their presence, birthplaces are often listed as the Republic of Tuva, a remote region within Russia. Additionally, official records are manipulated by removing stamps and photos, making it difficult to trace the true origin of the individuals involved. Russian authorities simultaneously execute a comprehensive information warfare strategy to maintain secrecy about North Korean participation. Lieutenant Andriy Kovalenko of Ukraine's National Security and Defense Council has documented Russian efforts to conceal North Korean involvement in specific operations. The Pentagon has noticed these concealment efforts, with spokesperson Major General Patrick Ryder confirming North Korean personnel casualties in Kursk Oblast. Ultimately, despite Russian attempts at secrecy, intelligence sources estimate approximately 300 North Korean soldiers have died and 2,700 have been wounded. The Kremlin's response to these revelations remains evasive. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov has refused to acknowledge specific details about North Korean casualties, stating only that the lives of each of our soldiers who are in captivity are important to us. This statement noticeably avoids addressing the documented presence of North Korean forces. Ukrainian military intelligence continues gathering evidence of these cover-up operations. Their findings reveal that Russian commanders actively suppress information about North Korean units throughout their training and deployment phases. Surveillance footage obtained by Ukrainian forces shows Russian personnel systematically destroying evidence of North Korean casualties, confirming the organized nature of these concealment efforts. Global powers have mobilized an unprecedented diplomatic response to North Korea's military involvement in Ukraine. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session to address the escalating crisis, marking a significant shift in international attention. The Security Council's emergency meeting revealed deep divisions among member states regarding North Korean troop deployment. Assistant Secretary General Miroslav Yencha warned that this development would lead to further suffering, mounting destruction, and deeper geopolitical divisions. Henceforth, the Council has focused on addressing multiple violations of existing resolutions. 10 countries, along with the European Union, issued a joint statement condemning North Korea's involvement in the conflict, describing it as a dangerous expansion. Discussions within the Security Council have emphasized several key concerns, including the violation of multiple United Nations resolutions, the potential transfer of nuclear technology, and the growing risks of destabilizing regional security. The U.S. Treasury Department has imposed stringent measures to address North Korea's involvement, targeting various aspects of its financial operations. These sanctions include the freezing of all U.S.-based assets, effectively blocking any property connected to designated entities. In addition, transactions with these entities are prohibited, making it illegal to engage in business dealings with them. Furthermore, financial restrictions have been imposed, limiting North Korea's access to foreign banks and further isolating its financial operations on the global stage. Unless authorized by specific licenses, all transactions involving designated persons are prohibited. Soon afterward, financial institutions received warnings about potential enforcement actions for any violations of these measures. The Group of 7 nations, straight away joined by South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand, condemned the military cooperation between North Korea and Russia. Their unified response emphasized several critical points, such as grave concerns about North Korean troop deployment, condemnation of ballistic missile procurement, and commitment to coordinated international response. The United States has provided more than $50 billion in critical assistance to Ukraine. Thereafter, the Pentagon confirmed Ukraine's right to use this equipment for territorial defense. The European Union's delegation head, Stavros Lambrinidis, warned that the participation of North Korean troops would constitute an additional serious breach of international law. South Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs declared that these actions violate United Nations precedent. The US and South Korea have called on China to use its influence over Russia and North Korea to prevent further escalation. Ukrainian President Zelensky expressed concern about the insufficient Western response, noting that the reaction to this is nothing. It has been zero. The international community remains particularly focused on preventing technology transfers that could enhance North Korea's nuclear capabilities. Foreign ministers from multiple nations have expressed deep concern about potential nuclear or ballistic missile-related technology transfers to North Korea. The United States assessment indicates that Russia may be shifting its position on North Korean nuclear weapons, potentially accepting their program. Mounting concerns over humanitarian issues plague North Korean forces in Ukraine as reports emerge of severe psychological trauma and rights violations. Currently, the Security Service of Ukraine holds 2 captured North Korean soldiers in custody, providing them with essential medical care under Geneva Convention protocols. The Security Service of Ukraine has implemented strict medical protocols for treating wounded North Korean prisoners, ensuring that all care provided meets international humanitarian law standards. Captured soldiers are promptly given the necessary medical assistance based on their injuries. For example, one soldier required treatment for a jaw injury, while another sustained hand injuries. Ukrainian authorities have confirmed that all medical care provided is in full compliance with the Geneva Conventions, ensuring the humane treatment of these prisoners. In addition, Korean interpreters are made available to facilitate communication, and the soldiers' housing conditions are in line with international standards, emphasizing the commitment to human rights. However, disturbing intelligence reports have uncovered shocking practices surrounding the treatment of North Korean troops. Additionally, there are reports of threats of execution for those who attempt to surrender and forced demonstrations of loyalty to the regime, further illustrating the dire mental and emotional toll on these soldiers. This intense psychological strain is compounded by the extreme measures required to avoid capture, pushing the soldiers into making increasingly desperate decisions in the face of conflict. The Kim regime has implemented harsh measures against the families of deployed soldiers as part of a broader strategy to maintain domestic control. Intelligence sources confirm that authorities isolate these family members to suppress potential dissent and ensure loyalty. This isolation serves several key purposes, including preventing the leakage of sensitive information, controlling public sentiment, deterring any potential defections, and ultimately preserving the stability of the regime. Former North Korean military officials highlight that families face unimaginable pain, unable to express their grievances openly. The situation becomes particularly acute as North Korean households typically have only 1 or 2 children, making the loss of a soldier's son especially devastating. The psychological impact extends beyond immediate family members. Oh Eun-kyung, a counselor at the Korean Counseling Psychological Association, emphasizes that families left behind experience severe psychological isolation and helplessness. Ultimately, this collective trauma could trigger significant social unrest within North Korea. Former Storm Corps officer Lee Hyun-seung points out that the regime's decision to publicly identify captured soldiers has potentially endangered their families. The North Korean government typically classifies combat deaths as fallen soldiers, which might have protected families from social consequences. David Maxwell, a former U.S. Special Forces colonel, underscores that North Korean soldiers face unprecedented trauma in Ukraine, yet receive no proper care for their experiences. These soldiers, thrust into modern warfare without adequate preparation, struggle with post-traumatic stress disorder while lacking access to appropriate mental health support. The strategic partnership between Russia and North Korea has entered a transformative phase, notwithstanding the significant casualties in Ukraine. Military analysts observe that this collaboration marks the first instance in over a century where Russia has welcomed foreign troops onto its soil. The military cooperation between Moscow and Pyongyang has grown significantly, evolving from a simple arms supply relationship into a more comprehensive and strategic partnership. This alliance offers a range of mutual benefits, which have strengthened the ties between the 2 nations. For Russia, the collaboration provides additional combat forces, bolstering its military presence in ongoing conflicts. These forces bring with them valuable combat experience, enhancing Russia's operational capabilities. Moreover, North Korea's provision of artillery ammunition helps Russia address its logistical challenges, particularly in the face of prolonged military engagements. For North Korea, the alliance with Russia brings access to modern military technology that would otherwise be beyond its reach, helping to upgrade its outdated weapon systems. This partnership also alleviates some of the pressure on North Korea's domestic recruitment efforts, as the country benefits from Russian support in bolstering its military strength. Additionally, Russia offers economic compensation, further strengthening the economic ties between the two nations. The alliance allows North Korea to enhance its military capabilities while gaining strategic influence in the region, positioning itself more assertively on the global stage. In June 2024, the partnership was formalized through a mutual defense pact, which obligates both countries to defend each other against external threats. This agreement has had a profound impact on the security dynamics in Northeast Asia, altering the balance of power in the region. North Korean forces have shown a remarkable ability to adapt quickly to modern combat conditions, gaining valuable battlefield experience along the way. Their presence on the front lines has had a significant impact on operations in several key areas. One notable development is their integration with Russian electronic warfare systems, which has enhanced their capabilities in electronic warfare. Additionally, North Korean troops have been exposed to advanced drone warfare tactics, learning how to operate and counter these technologies effectively. This experience has led to the development of their counter-drone capabilities, strengthening their ability to defend against such attacks. Moreover, North Korean forces have gained first-hand experience with NATO-supplied weapons systems, further diversifying their combat proficiency and enhancing their operational effectiveness in the field. The Ukrainian Military Intelligence Agency reports that North Korean troops operate alongside Russian units, with the latter providing reconnaissance and electronic warfare support. Accordingly, this cooperation has enabled North Korean forces to gain first-hand experience with modern combat technologies. Intelligence assessments suggest that North Korea's military involvement may escalate in the near future. The South Korean Joint Chiefs of Staff have confirmed that Pyongyang is preparing to rotate or send additional forces to Russia. This deployment strategy highlights several critical developments. On the one hand, North Korean forces are expected to gain significant combat experience through exposure to modern warfare techniques, which will help them adapt to the evolving landscape of technological warfare. This will also foster the development of new tactical approaches, strengthening their ability to operate effectively in complex combat environments. On the other hand, this growing military involvement has important strategic implications. It signals a further deepening of military cooperation between North Korea and Russia, enhancing their mutual capabilities. U.S. intelligence sources predict that North Korea might leverage these improvements to promote weapons sales and military training contracts globally. The Pentagon has expressed concern that North Korea's battlefield experience could render it more capable of waging war against its neighbors. Military analysts emphasize that this partnership poses unprecedented challenges for regional security. Dorothy Camille Shea, the Deputy U.S. Ambassador to the UN, warns that North Korea's rapidly improving battlefield skills gained in Kursk present significant security risks. The alliance between Moscow and Pyongyang has evolved into a longer-term, strategic and ideological partnership that threatens international stability. The deployment of North Korean troops represents a calculated move by both nations. Russian President Vladimir Putin gains tactical advantages in Ukraine, whereas Kim Jong-un secures valuable combat experience and potential technological transfers. This arrangement enables Russia to maintain its offensive operations without conducting additional domestic mobilization. The implications extend beyond immediate military considerations. The U.S. Defense Secretary has confirmed that approximately 8,000 North Korean soldiers are currently stationed in Kursk Oblast. These forces receive training in artillery operations, unmanned aerial vehicle operations, and basic infantry tactics. The Pentagon emphasizes that these developments affect not only European security, but also the Indo-Pacific region. North Korea's involvement in Ukraine highlights serious challenges, with over 30% of its forces suffering casualties. Despite Russian cover-ups, intelligence reports reveal the high cost of this partnership. The situation raises concerns about North Korea's military readiness and regional security. What do you think this means for global security? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe for more updates. Thank you for watching.